Well, it can't all be good, right? Gotta be at least one stinker. And this one isn't terrible by any means, but compared to what we just reviewed last time, which I gave a high 8 out of 10 to, um, yeah, this is a pretty big fall backwards. So, let's just go ahead and discuss it, shall we? What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your number one suggestion for anything and everything animation, including Super Saiyans that fight for the safety of the world. And please excuse my informal attire. I wore my Dragon Ball stuff yesterday, so I had to go in the wash. So, let's talk about it. Today's review, we are looking at Dragon Ball Z: The Tree of Might. I have never been a fan of this one. Never. I never thought it was outright terrible, but I could never, ever understand the people that liked it. Which I understand. It's different opinions. It is how it is. But the thing is, it shouldn't be as forgettable as it is. I mean, think about it. You have evil Saiyans coming to Earth, planting this tree, and you have Goku having to go in and stop them, as well as Piccolo, Krillin, Gohan, and even Yamcha and Tien and Chaozu get all in on the action as well. But this movie has a lot of problems, and this is actually going to be somewhat shorter than my World's Strongest review, because the summary seems to be pretty short. I've already read it, and then after that it's just the voice acting, and then the written review and final thoughts. So, yeah, this one, I highly doubt this one's going to be half an hour long, so it'll still be at least 20 minutes, I think, so let's just get it over with. Let's start, of course, with the story summary. Here is your spoiler warning. One night, as Bulma, Krillin, Oolong, and Gohan are out on a camping trip, an unknown cosmic object is heading towards Earth, crash lands in the forest nearby, causing a forest fire. While Gohan and Krillin are successfully able to rescue the forest animals, including a small dragon named Icarus. I'll talk about that annoying little bastard in a minute. And put out the blaze, the forest is still left in ruins. They decide to gather the Dragon Balls to ask Shenron to restore the forest to its original state. Later, the cosmic object that crashed and caused the forest fire earlier reveals itself to be a probe and scans the environment. The information is relayed to an unfriendly group of aliens under the leadership of a Saiyan. They determine that planet Earth's soil is suitable for growing the Tree of Might, a plant that sucks all of the nutrients out of the planet on which it was planted and leaves it a desert, and so they head directly for Earth. Icarus, having not returned to the forest, follows Gohan back to his home much to Chi-Chi's fury, who says that he can't keep it and demands he takes it back to the mountains. Dude, it was the dragon's own choice to follow him. It's not like Gohan brought the dragon there intentionally. So yeah, overreaction on Chi-Chi's part. Goku, however, shows Gohan a small cave nearby where Icarus can stay. Again, Goku likes animals. It's a nice little notion that fits his character. The unknown band of aliens, having now arrived on Earth, plant the seed in the area which the probe was previously landed. The explosion they cause wrecks the new cruiser Yamcha and Puar flying in. The seed soon grows quickly into a tree of monstrous size, laying waste to a large portion of the area within its vicinity. Now, I don't think the Tree of Might itself is a bad idea. I think it's an interesting concept. Like, you have this plant that's supposed to, like, we're used to plants helping the environment, right? Aside from weeds like dandelions. So having something evil like that, and having a plant that actually kills the environment rather than actually helps it, is an interesting concept. And having it be like the big main reason a villain comes down to Earth, I mean, it's fine. It makes sense. It kind of fits into the lore of Dragon Ball. Kind of, being a key word there. Where are we? Back at Goku's house, Krillin, Bulma, Oolong, Yamcha, Puar, Tien, Shenhan, Chaozu, and Master Roshi have all gathered for dinner with Goku's family. While Yamcha tells everyone about his wrecked cruiser, Goku is suddenly contacted by King Kai in his first ever appearance in the movies. That's a plus. I mean, I don't know who doesn't like King Kai. I mean, come on. It's freaking King Kai, who informs him of the Tree of Might and the danger it possesses. After Goku tells the others, he, along with Yamcha, Krillin, Tien, and Chaozu, head out to destroy the tree. However, Chi-Chi forbids Gohan from going along with them, because she's Chi-Chi and that's pretty much all her character does anymore at this point. Sorry, not to be mean, but that's pretty much her entire character through Z, keeping Gohan from being able to go anywhere, and nagging at Goku. It grates on ya, to say the least. At the tree, the group use their energy attacks to try and destroy the tree, to no effect. Goku, sensing others nearby, is then confronted by the aliens, known as the Turles Crusher Corps. Lame name. Seriously, the name's so lame. Whilst their leader watches from inside the spaceship. Soon after, the battles ensue with Tien and Chaozu facing off against twin brothers Raisin and Akase? I'm sorry, I'm an uncultured idiot, so apologies if I can't pronounce things correctly. Krillin taking on Amon and Yamcha taking on Kakao? I don't know. Through the Z Fighter struggles against their opponents. Goku ends up taking on both Diaz and Kakao simultaneously, because he's Goku, blasting them away with a double Kamehameha. During the ensuing battle, Chaozu is rescued by Gohan, who had just arrived after disobeying his mother and demonstrates his incredible fighting skills by easily taking out Lakase. I'm just going to say Lakase because I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. He is then encountered by the aliens' leader, Turles, a low-class Saiyan who bears a striking resemblance to Goku. Why? Why do we need a doppelganger evil Goku? Why? Were you stretched for ideas that day or something? Like, I get these are, like, direct-to-DVD, limited-time theatrical release, whatever, but point is, like, why a doppelganger of Goku? Why not try to be more creative and create, like, an original evil Saiyan? Or heck, maybe get some inspiration from the fans that love to theorize the whole Saiyan mythology and everything. But no, you just cop out and you make him the cliche doppelganger of the hero trope that we see way too many times in movies like this, and it sucks to say the very least. I mean, his design's okay. I kind of like the darker skin tone they gave him to make sure he's not a straight-up copy of Goku, but he is Goku. The hair pretty much gives it all away. The hair, the body type, it's just a recolored Goku with body armor and a tail. That's pretty much Turles' whole character. Oh, and he's evil. Can't forget that. Turles gives Gohan a choice to either join him or die. Gohan refuses to join Turles and is saved in time thanks to the arrival of Piccolo. However, Turles ambushes and blasts him from behind, having Gohan where he wants him. He notices Gohan's regrown tail and creates an artificial moon, forcibly turning Gohan to a Great Ape and then immediately afterwards destroying the moon so he himself would not transform, but it's just a ripoff of how Vegeta turned into a Great Ape during his fight with Goku. Like, it's literally the same freaking thing. I mean, outside of putting a little cloud over it, so that way Turles doesn't transform either. But outside of that, it's just the same thing. I mean, what happens in the Saiyan saga? Vegeta throws up a fake moon, he turns into an Ozaru, and he crushes Goku. Then Krillin and Gohan get into the fight, and then towards the end of the fight, Gohan becomes an Ozaru. Like, we've seen this before, guys. It's lazy. It's boring and it's lazy. Goku, seeing that Gohan is in trouble, goes to help him and attempts to reason with Gohan, but it is no use, and soon Goku is almost crushed to death in Ozaru Gohan's hand until Icarus arrives and calms him down. Okay, I'm just gonna get my rant out about this character right now. Icarus is an annoying little bastard. Like, he barely does anything in the movie. He takes up half of the runtime that could have been put into the freaking story and the writing, and he barely does anything that impacts the story whatsoever. He's one of the most useless, generic, boring characters in all of Dragon Ball. And I'm not alone in hating this guy. Have you seen Team 4 Stars movies and specials ranked video? They hate this little bastard too. I don't know who likes Icarus. I mean, having a cute dragon's not a terrible idea, but when he takes up half the runtime and barely does anything, that's how you piss off your audience. Oh, I hate him. I hate him so much. Oh. Sorry, he just really angers me. But when Turles attacks Icarus, Gohan is angered and turns on Turles, who fires an attack at Gohan. Or otherwise known in the games that he's a playable character in, is called the Kill Driver. You know, the giant yellow circle with the lightning bolts coming out of the center. Yeah, that's what he throws at Gohan. It's the Kill Driver. It looks cool, but it barely does anything. Before the attack can make contact, Goku manages to cut his son's tail off by blatantly stealing Krillin's Destructo Disc, except it's blue. Whatever. Like I said, we're just rehashing the entire saga at this point, with the exclusion of actually putting in Vegeta and Nappa. Reverting him to his normal state. Cradling a naked Gohan in his arms, Goku promises to defeat Turles. Turles' henchmen arrive, having defeated the other Z-Fighters, and then attack Goku, who uses the Kaioken to quickly kill them all with one hit, while Piccolo unsuccessfully fights Turles again. Yeah, why make him fight Turles again? I thought Piccolo was smart. I thought he was one of the smartest, most strategic characters in the show. Has he done some stupid things? Sure. Is there sometimes he forgets to strategize? Sure. But I don't remember him being that stupid. Goku and Turles then fight, and the fight itself is friggin' boring. With Goku having the upper hand until Turles pushes his power further by eating a fruit from the Tree of Might. With his newfound power, Turles dominates Goku and beats him to the point that he is no longer able to fight, even after using the Kaioken times 10. No, it's not times 10, it's times 20. Did you actually watch the movie, Wiki? Good grief. With encouragement from the others, Goku begins gathering energy needed for a Spirit Bomb, while the other injured Z-Fighters, except a still unconscious Gohan, try to buy Goku some time, though they are quickly defeated. Despite gaining energy from the people of Earth and launching the Spirit Bomb, Turles is able to counterattack with the Calamity Blaster, neutralizing the attack. I mean, I'll give them credit. I'm glad they didn't just use a Spirit Bomb as a finishing blow again. I'll give them credit. Because that way too often becomes a cliche in the movies, but I mean, it leads to an even stupider ending. How stupid's the ending? Oh, I'm gonna tell ya. Brace yourself for this one. Due to the Tree of Might absorbing the Earth's energy, the Spirit Bomb lacks sufficient power, so Goku decides to take energy from inside the Tree of Might itself. How does he do this? By laying on the ground and, while he's half unconscious, seeing a blue light in the sky. He sees like this blue light. And then suddenly he gets up, goes to face Turles, throws one attack, and Turles and the entire tree die. Like, were they rushed for time or something? Like, that is a terrible ending. Like, you can't tell me that he just outright knows how to absorb the energy from the tree when he's not even affiliated with the tree and its power. Like, even your explanation for your crappy ending makes no sense. Oh. Eventually successful in recreating the Spirit Bomb, Goku fires it at Turles, who tries to counter it with his own Ki Wave. He is carried up the trunk of the Tree of Might and destroyed along with the tree when the Spirit Bomb explodes, releasing the absorbed energy all over the planet and its living things. With the Terror now over and Icarus revealed to still be alive. Boo! The Z-Fighters enjoy their time on another camping trip while Piccolo meditates peacefully under a waterfall. This story's stupid. This story is dumb. Like, even by Dragon Ball standards, it's dumb. Like, it's a rip-off of the Saiyan saga, it's extremely messy, it breaks its own rules and lore, and the ending is the definition of a, excuse my language here, but an asshole. Like, the ending really just sinks the ship. The story is just flat out bad. It's a bad rip-off Saiyan saga mess. Okay. Alright, what about the placement in the timeline? I know I tell you guys not to do it, but I like reading these out of fascination. This film occurs, though not literally, because it's not canon, after Goku arrived on Namek, but before the final showdown with Frieza. Well, here's my question. If it takes place before he fights Frieza, but after he arrives on Namek, where the hell's Vegeta? Like, did they just forget he was a character? Like, he's nowhere to be seen here. It's dumb. It's dumb. Okay. Now, does this mean this movie's entirely bad? No, it just has a really bad story that's a shallow rip-off of the Saiyan saga. But not nearly as amazing because of its... Again, it's messy, it breaks its own rules, it tries to connect to the lore even though despite the fact it's still non-canon, and there's no Vegeta in sight. Despite the fact that this is supposed to be taking place when Goku arrives on Namek but before he fights Frieza. Like, what sense does that make? What do you mean? You need to tell me that, like, as soon as Goku arrived on Namek, they flew back from Namek all the way back to Earth just to have this stupid little one-off adventure, and then fly back up to Namek and fight Frieza? That's stupid. Like, yes, I know that Gohan... Yes, I know that Goku is oblivious sometimes. I get that, but I don't think he's that stupid. Sorry, I'm getting mad about something that isn't even canon. I'm sorry. Okay, next up is the voice cast, and once again, just like Tree of Might, it's still really good voice acting. I may not like any of the new characters in this movie whatsoever, but I will admit their voice acting is still pretty good. So let's go over them. First, we'll knock out the main cast again. Sean Schemmel as Goku, Stephanie Nadoni as Gohan, and then Shane Ray as Ozaru Gohan. Sonny Strait, Krillin, Christopher Sabat as Yamcha, John Bergmeyer as Tien. He's pretty good. Monica Antonelli as Chaozu, Christopher Sabat's Piccolo, Tiffany Volmer Bulma, Cynthia Kranz Chi-Chi, Brad Jackson Oolong, Monica Antonelli Puar. Oh, I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize Chaozu and Puar had the same voice actor. No wonder they sound so similar. I'm stupid, I'm sorry. And then Mike McFarlane as Master Roshi, returning from World's Strongest. And then we have some of the new ones. We have Sean Schemmel as King Kai, which I said is a positive, and I wasn't lying about that. As dumb as the story can be, I will 100% admit that any time that you have Sean Schemmel as King Kai in a Dragon Ball movie, you earn yourself a couple of points, because King Kai is such a pivotal, important, cool character in pretty much all of Dragon Ball. And then you have Christopher Sabat back as Shenron, and apparently Christopher Sabat was also Icarus. Man, that guy's talented. I wish I had his vocal range. Alright. And then we have the voices for our villains. Robert McCollum was Raisin and Lacasse. Makes sense, they were twin brothers. Dice was voiced by Mark Lancaster. Cacao was voiced by Jeff Johnson. Amon's voiced by Paul Slavens. Or Slavens, I'm sorry. Again, uncultured idiot, I don't know how to pronounce things. And Turles was voiced by Chris Patton, even though in the original Japanese version, he was voiced by Masako Nozawa, the same person that voices Goku and Gohan. It makes me wonder why they didn't just let Sean Schemmel voice him. I don't know, maybe they wanted to try to give some kind of differentiation between the two? I don't know. But yeah, there's that. Good voice acting. Just unfortunately they're not given good material. Okay, so that's the story, which is an absolute S. There's the voice acting, which is pretty good. Let's go ahead and get to the written review. It's a little bit lengthier than my World's Strongest review, but it's because I had a lot of nitpicks. So, let's just point them out and go through this together, shall we? So, the positives of this movie. Good voice acting. I already went over that. Good action, even though, again, the villains themselves are crap, which I'll talk about in a minute. I do like the action in this movie. Aside from that stupid ending, there is some pretty good action in this movie. A decent concept, solid animation, some funny moments. Like, there are some pretty funny moments in this movie. I mean, it's Dragon Ball. You're gonna get at least a few laughs, even if it's a terrible movie. And it's cool to see more of the side characters like Yamcha and Tien get on the action alongside Goku and Piccolo. Yeah, that's something that very rarely happens in these movies when the side characters actually get some time to shine. Most of the time it's focused on Goku, Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo. And then later Vegeta, but that's a story for another day. Also, it's nice to see King Kai in a movie for the first time. His first ever DBZ movie, and of course Sean Schemmel knocks it out of the park. I mean, it's King Kai. What do you want me to say? But, unlike World's Strongest, this one has a lot of issues. The writing is lousy. The story is a messy ripoff of the Saiyan saga. We already went really into detail there, so I'm just going to keep going. The villains are terrible, with the most generic designs imaginable, especially Turles, who's just a cliche doppelganger of Goku with no character whatsoever, outside of being, over-the-top evil for the sake of being over-the-top evil. Like, I don't get why people like this guy. I really don't. To me, he's one of the most boring villains in all of Dragon Ball. Whatever. Icarus the Dragon takes half of the runtime and is beyond annoying every second he's on screen. Already went over that, moving on. The ending is just flat out bad, already went over that. The pacing is agonizingly slow. Like, if you thought there was some slow pacing in Dead Zone, you have not seen anything until you see the pacing in this movie. It is slow, and it is bad. The runtime feels at least 2 times longer than it actually is. So many scenes drag and have little impact on the actual story. Every scene with Icarus, for example. Enough said, moving on. And the lack of music all throughout, especially during the action scenes, is a severe problem. I mean, in some of the action scenes they have music, but most of the time it's just dead silence. Now, if I would understand if it's like the licensed music they had to take out, because again, I'm watching the remastered versions that don't have that licensed music, so I don't know, maybe it's silent because they had to remove that music because it was licensed. If so, that makes sense, and I can let it slide. But if not, and it's just silent because it's silent, that's just rushed and lazy, especially when you actually have music in the later fights like Goku versus Turles. Just saying. I can understand why some enjoy this one, but me personally, this remains one of the worst of the movies. It's not flat out bad and it's far from being the worst one, because Dragon Ball Evolution exists. But it's so boring and generic that I rarely ever rewatch it. It has its good aspects, and there's a little bit of fun to be had here and there. But personally, I'd recommend you go ahead and skip this one. That's pretty much all my thoughts on it. It's boring, it's tedious, it's slow. It's just always been one of my least favorite of the films. Yes, the movie itself isn't flat out bad, because it has some good aspects and some things that I do like seeing whenever I actually muster up the energy to actually rewatch it. But, I mean, outside of that, it's just not good, like, not even close. And it only has a few little aspects keeping me from being able to even call it below average. Me, personally, it's a dead average, super generic, boring movie. And considering the show that this is a movie off of, that is an achievement, because you'd have to try pretty freaking hard to make Super Saiyans fighting evil aliens boring. But they did it, and yes, again, I know this is one of those movies that takes place before Super Saiyan was even introduced, but still, it's still a problem, is what I'm saying. So, I've discussed the pros, the cons, the story, the voice acting. Let's go ahead and just jump to the final verdict. This one still remains one of the worst movies in the series, but it's not like top 5 worst. It's not that bad. But it's generic, it's cliche, it's boring, it's lazy, and it's just not worth your time. Me personally, I would recommend you go ahead and skip it and just move on to Lord Slug, which is a far better movie that we'll talk about tomorrow. But as for this movie, final verdict is a dead average 5 out of 10. It is one of the most boring animated films that I have ever seen. Yes, I've seen worse animated movies, but at least they have one or two things that I can remember about it. This one, every time I watch it, it's just in one ear and out the other. Just not a good movie, not a bad movie, a painfully average snore fest that I think it's better that you just forget it even exists. Okay, that's the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned, because we still have a long way to go with this marathon, because we still have a bunch of the movies to get through, and we still have the sagas of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. So, I'll see you guys next time when we take a look at one of my personal favorite Dragon Ball movies, and that is Lord Slug. Yes, it's a ripoff of King Piccolo. Get your jokes out now. But, until then, thanks for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station, and I'll see you guys next time for the next episode of Super Saiyan-Tember 2. So then, thanks for watching. Have a great day, stay Super Saiyan, and take care. Peace!